So today we're doing the Los Angeles Angels, the team that won the poll, which only means we have one team left for tomorrow. That's going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. But today we're going to be focusing on the Los Angeles Angels, a team that has the best player in baseball, Mike Trout. They got Shohei coming back from Tommy John. They've got a couple other decent players to build around. I just feel like pitching's a big issue. So we're going to try to attack the pitching. We're going to try to bolster this lineup even more. And we're going to try to win Mike Trout and the Angels a World Series. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you want to see some more rebuilds, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoyed the content. And of course, get in the comment section. Today, I want you to let me know who you think is going to be the better Angels prospect, Brandon Marsh or Joe Adell. That's what I want to know in the comment section down below, and give me a little reason why you think that's going to be the case. If you guys don't know, then I don't know, just guess. Just leave a comment down below. If you missed the last video, I'm going to leave a link to it up here. It was the San Francisco Giants rebuild. It was a good one. We went a little bit different with some of the players, so go check it out up there. And of course, all social media links are down in the description below. Go and give them a follow. Let's get into it. So there is one thing I want to mention about this. I altered the roster a little bit compared to what I normally do. And the reason is Shohei Ohtani has this issue where he's always really bad in franchise as a pitcher, and that's because he's used every single day of the season. So when he pitches, he's super tired, and then that's why he does poorly. So for this rebuild, I'm only going to use him as a fielder. And the way I did that was I went to the player vault. I downloaded a Shohei Ohtani from the player vault, and then I removed the pitching version of Shohei and just made him an outfielder. So I know it kind of takes away from the fact that Shohei has been said that he's going to be pitching and playing the field or DHing or whatever it is. The thing is, for this rebuild to work and for Shohei to actually be good, I need him to either be a pitcher or an outfielder, and I feel like he's gonna be better if I use him as a fielder or a position player than I would a pitcher. So I know that's like the one flaw that's kind of happening with the Angels and Ohtani and franchise, but that's just something that has to be done. So sadly, he won't be in the team as a pitcher, so we're gonna have to rock with Heaney, Andriese, Pena, Tehran, Griffin Canning. Hope some of these other guys work out as well. And then when you look at the bullpen, we've got Buttrey, Bedrosian, Barnes, Ramirez, Anderson, a couple okay pitchers, but I definitely want to strengthen this bullpen. And then Hansel Robles as the closer. Our catchers, we need some new catchers, 100%. First base, I need Pujols to retire. That contract is absolutely abysmal. I mean, it's 2 seasons, so hopefully we can work around it for those 2 seasons, but we're gonna have to wait and see what we can do. Second base, we got Tommy La Stella. He's solid. David Fletcher, we all know he's like the greatest baseball player in the world, so we'll leave him on the team as well. Third base, newly acquired Rendon. We've got Taylor Ward, Jordan Zimmerman. We'll see if they get involved. They're kind of low rated, so who knows. Shortstop, one of the best defensive shortstops we've seen kind of like in this like whole generation of baseball, Andrelton Simmons. We'll see if we keep him. We might just let his contract run out because we may need to get a little bit younger at that point. Left field, Justin Upton along with Brian Goodwin. In center field, we've got the guy Mike Trout and then Joe Adell coming up through the system. And then in right field, I made Shohei a right fielder, and then we got Brandon Marsh along with Michael Hermosillo and Dustin Peterson. So we've got some options. I know Brandon Marsh should have a little bit better potential. What we'll do is we'll like bump it up to 88. We'll see how he does, but I won't mess with any of his stats because I still think he's kind of on the verge of becoming an MLB player. So I'm going to change the team around. I'm going to put some players in AAA, move some players to the MLB team, but I want to make some trades. Let's go do that. I've legit been looking for trades for like 10 minutes. It is so difficult to make any trades with this Angels team because like either they're players that I kind of want to get involved in the team, like Michael Hermosillo, Brandon Marsh, Joe Adell. Who else? We got like Jahmai Jones, David Fletcher, like Luis Renifo. We could try to trade him for Jock like they did in real life to get a left fielder, but like it's tough because I want to improve the pitching, and like I'm stuck because like they don't really have a lot of good prospects that I could try to flip or anything like that. That's the problem with this team. So like it's kind of working with what we currently have, and it's tough. I'm gonna go for Ryan Borucki of the Blue Jays. I don't think I've gotten him this year. And that might be the only the trade I do. Like that's how kind of like tough and stuck I am right now. So I think I'm gonna leave it there. I've tried multiple different options. Our budget's in a really tough spot. I want to trade Upton. I want to try to get like Marsh or Joe Adell in the left field spot, but like I just don't know who we could trade Upton for. And like once the offseason comes with like Simmons in them, I think trading Upton's probably the best move. Let's let the season go, see how the team does, and then move to season 2, 3, and 4. Let's make the moves then, because like I'm stuck with this team. This is probably one of the most stuck teams I've been for quite some time. I'm actually gonna make David Fletcher start the second base spot, and then maybe Pujols DH first base, Tommy La Stella. That might be the move. So that's gonna be the team. Pitching, you guys have just saw it. I'm legit like baffled by this team. I really don't know what to do with it, because like offensively with like Simmons, Fletcher, Trout, Rendon, Ohtani, Upton, like there's some good hitters there. The pitching is just what I'm struggling with. So I'll see you guys at draft day, and let's get season 1 underway. All right, so the draft's over. Let's go take a look at our picks, because I felt like a couple of them were okay. This guy is gonna be really good. It's just going to take a while for him to get good, because like you look at those fielding stats, you look at that speed, and then you look at the hitting stats and you go, oh man, it's so bad, because he's got 91 potential and he's already a 65 overall. It's just he doesn't know how to hit a baseball. Hayden Layton, 65 overall. He's got some pretty decent potential as well. Maybe sneaks into the team season 4. Didn't go great with this guy. 74 overall, 73 potential. So he's just going to hover around that mark. Geronimo Aviles looks decent. The walks per 9 is a little low, but look at that K per 9 already. So he might be one of those players that somehow sneaks into the team towards the end of the rebuild. And then Franz Willis wasn't that great. So that's the draft. It wasn't great. Well, it was kind of good. We got a couple good players, but I was kind of hoping to win a little bit better. So there we go. I'll see you guys at the end of the season. It's the trade deadline. I want to trade for some of those players whose contracts are expiring, because we're kind of in a weird spot. I guess this corner would help a little bit more. So Justin Upton's actually having a crazy good season, so I'm going to keep him for at least this year. But when you look at players like Jason Castro, we've got Tommy La Stella, who's leaving. I think also Goodwin, but I don't see him now that I'm like looking at it. Oh yeah, Goodwin hits arbitration. He's not having a great year, and like we have younger players who I would rather throw into the lineup. Along with like when you look at some of the players, the team's doing okay here and there, but not like stupendous. So if we could find a new pitcher, that'd be kind of nice, along with maybe someone to take over. Maybe like we get rid of Goodwin, we maybe package him with like La Stella, because like I like La Stella. I think he's a good ball player and he's having a good year. But we've got David Fletcher, who is not having a great year, but we're gonna find a way to make David Fletcher better. His contact should definitely be higher. I feel like that's probably one thing we could have done, made his contact a little bit better, but we'll leave it there for now. So we're gonna kind of package them, maybe throw in like one of these pitchers. That's a lot of money to try to flip, but we're gonna try to find something. We're gonna try to find a pitcher. So we're gonna go to the Mets. We're gonna take Steven Matz and also Andres Jimenez from them for Brian Goodwin, Tommy La Stella, and Julio Teheran. Don't know how this deal is going through, but we're getting a pitcher in Matz who does become a free agent at the end of the year, but we could always bring him back. Andres Jimenez, more of a prospect, but I'll take it. It's not a bad trade. I'm actually just going to straight up flip Andres Jimenez. We're just going to be like, you know what? No need to fly over. We're just going to send you to the Athletics for Davy Grullon. I feel like we haven't had him in quite some time. He's one of those sneaky good catchers, and let's get a catcher that we can hold on to for the rebuild and kind of work around that. Like we can kind of build off this guy being our catcher, and then we can worry about other positions. Davy Grullon for Dylan Bundy, Andres Jimenez, and Jason Castro. All right, so the season's about to end, and it actually went pretty well. A lot better than what I thought. I thought we were going to be kind of fighting for a wild card spot, like actually fighting, not getting one, but fighting for one. You can see 94 and 68. We are actually a wild card team, so I'll take that. I doubt we were too far off in the division either. Yeah, 5 games. That's not terrible. We're ranked 15th. The ERA is pretty high, and that's what I was worried about. I know I said I want to attack pitching, and I will. I definitely will go after some pitching, but we got to figure out this contract situation. If Pujols can retire, that is a big amount of money we can save. But I'm pretty happy with the way the team did, and we made the postseason season 1, so that's at least a step in the right direction. Anthony Rendon popped off. Holy cow, you love to see it. And let's take a look at awards. A Silver Slugger, a Rookie of the Year for Ohtani, even though he's not a Rookie of the Year. Don't worry, I know. That's what happens when you have to import a player. I know. Rendon and Rendon. So JD Martinez was MVP along with Eugenio Suarez, Kershaw and Sale, Rendon and Goldschmidt, Pedro Baez and Osuna, reliever of the years, and then It actually, the rookie of the year would have been Ramon Urias, so it even wouldn't have been Tsugo, but and then Akiyama won it for the NL. So there we go. Let's take a look at the team. Let's take a look at the team because this is where I'm interested to see how it goes. I brought up Luis Gohara to take over for the long relief spot since we got rid of Bundy. We needed a new pitcher. Jacob Barnes wasn't terrible. He might be a player I look to bring back for maybe a season. The whip's high. The whip is high. But if he can give us, you know, kind of like a mid-3 ERA, keep that whip a little bit lower, we'll be fine. Noe Ramirez, I think he's going to start dipping in ratings, so he might be a player I look to let go. Justin Anderson, that whip is so bad. 1.7 is not good. We're going to have to get rid of him. Cambridge Rosian's another player I'm going to look to get rid of. Ty Buttrey, I'm going to give him one more season because he normally develops quite well, but if he doesn't do well, we're going to have to trade him. And then Hansel Robles looks to be really solid, so he's going to be our closer. But for the bullpen, we need to add a lefty, and then on top of that, we just kind of need to add some new faces to it. Keenan Middleton's definitely a player I'm going to look to bring up next year. I think he's going to be a good addition to the squad. Maybe even Ryan Buckner. Maybe. I'm not too sure about that. And then when you look at our starting pitching, we definitely need to improve the team. Andrew Heaney becomes a free agent, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring him back or not with the way he performed this season. Griffin Canning was pretty decent. Steven Matz was pretty solid. Ryan Baraki struggled, and the potential went down. And then Felix Pena was pretty good. So we'll see. We also have Jaime Barria, who could come up, maybe be a 5 in the rotation, but we definitely need to strengthen the pitching like I've mentioned multiple times. You look at our bench, it's okay. David Fletcher is okay. I might bump his contact into at least the mid 60s. That way it's actually kind of, what you would expect from David Fletcher. Not like too much, but at least you get a little bit of a bump in the contact. That way it's not too crazy. You look at Simmons, I did extend his contract a few seasons more, so you guys can see I got him locked up for the rest of the rebuild. So that's what I did. I did an in-season contract extension. He had an okay year. He's most likely going to be the shortstop for the rest of the rebuild. Mike Trout putting up Mike Trout numbers. Anthony Rendon putting up MVP type numbers. You got Shohei, who put up really good numbers as well. Upton, crazy good numbers. The thing is, the contract is really going to hinder us. So he might be a player I just look to get rid of. We have Joe Adell, who put up, in 49 games, he put up really solid numbers. So I might just move Adell to the left. We've got Trout in center, and then Shohei in right. Davey Grullon, you know what? We're going to see how he does in a full season. And then Pujols, aging player. I'm really hoping he retires. Like, I really need him to retire. And let's see how season 1 goes. We do take the loss. That's okay. Let's head into the offseason. Let's see what we can do with this team, because I feel like season 1 was a test out season. We've seen who does well, who we could improve on, and let's move forward. So Pujols does retire. So that's good to see. No exclusive negotiations, and we're going to have some money now. We actually have some money to play with, which is good. 40 man, maybe Burke. We'll see. Arbitration. Let's take a look. I might not offer it to like Buckner just because he is 34. Anderson, I'm on the fence about. Ramirez, I'm on the fence about. Bedrosian, I'm on the fence about. But I might just offer it to these guys so that we have those minor leaguers in the squad. Contracts, I'm going to offer it to everybody. Might as well keep some players on the roster. With the start of season 2, I want to acquire a bullpen arm that gives me a little more confidence in my bullpen, right? And so I'm actually going to throw myself in this corner. No, this corner. This corner makes a little bit more sense. Victor Arano and Mickey Moniak for Cambridge Rosian, Justin Anderson, and Gareth Morgan. Mickey Moniak probably going to be more of a trade piece for the future. I just feel like that's just probably what's going to happen. So this is kind of what I'm looking like for the bullpen right now. It's okay. It's definitely improved. We got Robles. We brought him Leon Hendricks on a 2-year deal. I felt like that was probably the best I'd be comfortable with, a 2-year deal. We've got Heaney, Cannon, Baraki, Matz, and Pena. I'm thinking maybe Baraki there, maybe Matz in the 3 spot, Pena there. I'm thinking I'm going to trade Heaney. His contract expires at the end of the year, and I don't know if he's going to be a player I really want to build my rotation around. He's not really an ace, and that's what we're lacking. So David Fletcher is going to be our second baseman. And then you see the team. G-Man Choi has joined us at first base. He's going to be our starting first baseman. I thought, you know what? Let's give him a 2-year deal, give him a shot to play first base for us, take over for Pujols. It's not as good of a hitter as Pujols, but he definitely is glitchy in franchise, so he's going to be our first baseman. And then I think I'm going to do DH is going to be Justin Upton, and then left field is going to be Joe Adell. You guys can see who's on the bench. I'm going to trade Andrew Heaney. I've made up my mind. Let's go get a new starting pitcher. It's a little bit of a different pitcher. We're going to go for Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs for Andrew Heaney, Mickey Moniak, and Ryan Burke. Not Burn, Burke. That's the trade. Again, we're taking a prospect that we just got, and we're just going to ship him to another team. All right, so it's not looking like we're making the playoffs in the second season. And you're going to see why. You're going to see why, because offensively, we didn't do great. Pitching wise, we were terrible, and everything fell apart. Everything fell apart. You guys can see we were 11 games out in the division. The ERA is at almost 4. The average is under 260. We missed out on the wild card by 8 games, and you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you make any trades? Why didn't you do anything that would push you to the wild card spot? Because you're going to see what happened, and you're going to be like, well, you're going to have to change the whole team because it just didn't go that well. So, ooh, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't know what I'm going to do to change this team. You guys are going to see award winners now. But once you see what happened with the pitching rotation, the bullpen, everything like that, it is going to be mind-blowing. Luis Gohara was okay. I'm definitely going to be looking to trade him, maybe get someone in return. You know, he was better than last year, which is a good step in the right direction. It's just we need people that are going to win now. And he's just not going to be that guy for us. Jacob Barnes, really solid. Arano, not good after we traded for him. Keenan Middleton was good. Hansel Robles was good. Ty Buttrey's gone, not bringing him back. And then Liam Hendricks was absolutely atrocious after we just made him our closer. So also the CPU changed up the rotation, which kind of bothers me. Kyle Hendricks was solid. That's what I want from Kyle Hendricks. He was brought in to be the ace. That's what he did. Griffin Canning, solid. We got a nice 1-2 combo right there. Steven Matz, not coming back. Felix Pena, garbage. Ryan Barucki isn't doing what I was hoping he would have done. He did improve. So as a 5, I'm okay with keeping him in that 5 spot. But we definitely need to improve 3 and 4. Jaime Barria, maybe. Just maybe. But I'm not even sold on him popping into the lineup and doing much. Or the rotation and doing much. You look at our bench, it was pretty abysmal. I want to get Brandon Marsh involved. I just don't know how to do it with the way our outfield is stacked. Andrelton Simmons, I definitely need to drop him in the lineup. He's just not, the hitting shortstop that we like. We just don't need him to be the leadoff guy is basically what I'm saying. David Fletcher improved. Anthony Rendon put up really solid numbers. Mike Trout put up really solid numbers, and that's a quiet year for him. 27 home runs, 44 doubles. Shohei put up solid numbers, even though his potential is going down, which I don't really understand. Justin Upton is slowly going to start to fall off, so I think I'm going to trade him this offseason. Try to get something in return, put a Joe permanently in left field, and then just look for a pure DH. G-Man Choi had a very, very good year. That's why I brought in G-Man Choi. He's kind of glitchy, and it works because now he's back in the Angels uni. There we go. So Davy Grullon is, oh man, why? How come when I don't get Davy Grullon, he does really well? But when I pick him up, I put him in the team, he doesn't do that great. So maybe he can turn it around next year. And then Joe Adell in his first full season did excellent. So we can bring up Jahmai Jones. Maybe he comes in and helps us out somewhere. I don't know where. But this is that shortstop that we drafted, I think we drafted him. I don't remember anymore. We do have a couple players that we drafted that look pretty good that could sneak into the team that I got in season 2. Realistically, I just need to change the team. It didn't go great. I was hoping for better results. We didn't get them. So let's hop into the offseason, see what we can do here. Only exclusive negotiation is Hansel Robles, 2-year club option. If it doesn't work out, then I'll just let him walk in free agency. The 40-man, I'm going to make sure I offer add Jahmai Jones. Arbitration-wise, probably not going to bring back Diaz. Probably not going to bring back Pena. And then I'll offer the other guys. So Diaz and Pena not coming back. Contracts, I'm going to offer it to everybody here. I'm going to try AJ Puck, formerly of the Athletics and now with the Phillies. I guess we're just doing deals with the Phillies quite often this year. We're also dumping a lot of salary, and that's the big thing. We're going to trade Renifo, Dustin Peterson, and Justin Upton. So there we go. We got a new pitcher. Season 3, I'm starting with the trade for a new closer. Hendricks gives me no faith in him, and I wanted to go for Brad Hand, but he decided to go back to the Indians instead. So I'm going to go for Brad Hand now. It's about half the salary, and it works out a little bit better too. So I like the trade. I do want to find a couple more bullpen arms, so let me go do that before we actually look at the lineup. The next one's going to be for Jose Alvarado of the Rays. I think we've gotten him recently, but we need another lefty. We're going to trade Buttry, Gohara, and Jose Rodriguez. So let me go look at the lineup, see if we need to make any more changes. If not, let me show you what we're looking like. All right, so no more changes are going to be made to the team for season 3. We're ranked 4th in baseball, and I actually have a lot of faith in the team we've put together. You guys can see we brought in Syndergaard to be our new ace. We've got Hendricks, Canning, Barucki, and Puck. I mean, I think Barucki is going to continue to get better. I think this is going to be the year he really solidifies himself in the rotation. I think bringing in Puck is a different name that we've never used before, so I think this is going to be a solid option as well. And then I think Hendricks' contract expires next year. So we'll have him for the rest of the rebuild, which I'm fine with. As a number 2, he's actually pretty solid. So I like this rotation. Jaime Barria is going to be our long reliever. And then this is our bullpen. I'm going to give faith in the guys. The new addition of Alvarado in hand. I have a little bit more faith in the bullpen now, and we'll see how everyone, progresses through the year. This is our starting lineup. I mean, it's been good throughout this entire rebuild for the most part, and I feel like we're in a good spot. Joe Adell taking over and left is huge. We got Brandon Marsh being the DH, and then on the bench we got Jahmai Jones. Stassi is the backup catcher, which is like no big deal. Hermosillo, Matt Thaiss, and then we got a couple guys down here who look pretty solid. I want to show you the players that we got in the draft last year because there were a couple good ones. So John Gelman was one of them. He's actually pretty decent already, 66 overall, B potential. This guy wasn't as good, but like the walks per 9 really drew me to him, and that's why I drafted him. So he could be maybe a long reliever or just a trade piece. Aguila was meh. And then we had Galvin, who was 47 overall, no big deal. But this was the big one. Good contact hitter, good vision. I think could be a platoon outfielder if like Joe Adell doesn't really pan out, which sometimes he doesn't in franchise. So that would be something that we could look into possibly bringing him up for season 4, or just be that platoon outfielder for us. So who knows? This is the team. I like it a lot. We're looking strong. This is a solid team. I like it. So I'll see you guys at the end of season 3. Alrighty, so me from the future, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, you wouldn't have seen this, but I tweeted out that I realized that my mic was muted for this portion and then the last season of the rebuild. So all this from here on out is going to be a post-com, which is basically just not live. I have to kind of go over what happened. So what you're about to see is us hitting the postseason of season 3, and we hit it as a wild card team, which I was mind blown by. Absolutely mind blown. You guys can see we won over 100 games, and the Athletics beat us by 2 games. I'm looking over here because that's where I'm watching everything that happened again, and I'm like, how did the Athletics go and beat us? So I'm looking at their team and I'm like, okay, let's take a look, and I'm not really impressed by what they had. Their best pitcher was Frankie Montas. Daniel Mangden had an okay year. Their bullpen looks average at best. And I'm looking at our team and I'm going, we have a lot better pitching staff. Our lineup is pretty good compared to theirs as well. Yeah, they had Semien. Matt Olson kind of popped off. Matt Chapman kind of popped off. You got Pinder, who hit 30 home runs. And I'm like, yeah, some of these players did well, but I feel like we definitely should have won the division, right? We shouldn't have been second place to them. So instead, we got the wild card spot. We're in a tricky spot now because we're going to obviously have to win an extra game to advance in the postseason. We did have a couple league leaders, and by a couple, I just mean Mike Trout popped off offensively, and Kyle Hendricks had a really good season. And then I was talking about Christian Yelich, and I was like, well, Christian Yelich, I would love to get him into the team. Christian Yelich would be amazing. Think about right field Yelich, maybe even move Ohtani to left, Trout in center. But then I was like, I feel like that's just a little bit extra. We don't really need Yelich. We've got Adele. We've got Ohtani, Trout, we have Brandon Marsh coming up, and I was like, it just feels like we don't really need him. It's a little extra. So Mike Trout won MVP. He also had the Hank Aaron Award, and you guys can go and kind of see the other awards that happened. Of course, Andrew Heaney wins a Cy Young once we get rid of him. It just happens every single time. No matter what, we get rid of a player, they will win some sort of Cy Young or MVP once we get rid of them. It's just how it is. And then you guys can see Rookie of the Years and things like that. So we take a look at our pitching staff, and it was good. Like, Jaime Barria had probably one of the best seasons I've ever seen from a long reliever. Low ERA, low whip. You know, Hansel Robles did struggle, didn't like to see that. Keenan Middleton struggled, didn't like to see that. Jose Alvarado, though, that pickup was huge. Jacob Barnes, the ERA is high, but the whip was actually pretty low. So I was fine with that. I thought, you know what, we can work with that. That's something we can work with in the bullpen. And it wasn't bad. He was actually a little bit of a sneaky bullpen arm for us. Victor Arano was fantastic in the setup role, and then Brad Hand, I wanted him to be our closer once he was available in free agency. Couldn't get him right away, but we finally got him. He did well. Syndergaard, great in that A spot. Love to see it. You got Kyle Hendricks as a number 2, great. Baraki did what I said he was gonna do. He broke out. Love it. I was hoping he would. Griffin Canning kind of fell back a little bit, which does suck. I was kind of hoping for a little bit better year, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. And then AJ Puck, kind of the same thing, just really didn't live up to what I was hoping for. So we really don't have anybody in the farm system that could hop up. So I was kind of like, well, we're gonna have to make a trade or sign somebody, because we just don't really have anybody who can replace the players that I want to get rid of. So looking at our bench, looking at our team, you know, it was okay, nothing like too crazy. You know, Matt Thaiss had a little bit of a good season, but outside of that, the bench is pretty subpar. I mentioned that David Fletcher, I did want to bring his contact stats up a little bit. So I think in season 2, I bumped them up to 65 each. So that's why you can see that they've gone a little bit higher than what you normally would see in a rebuild. And then looking at the rest of the team, you know, Andrelton Simmons kind of had a bounce back season. You know, Anthony Rendon was putting up stupid good numbers. You've got Mike Trout putting MVP numbers because he was MVP. Like those are just an insane season. Ohtani, great numbers there as well. You know, and this was a bounce back year. You've got G-Man Choi, who put up just good numbers again, 28 home runs, and then I extended his contract mid-season so that we would have him for the rest of the rebuild. Joe Adell kind of took a step back, which you don't want to see. Potential dropped as well. And then, of course, Brandon Marsh improved, even though potential went down, which you don't like to see, but at least he was improving. And then Davy Grullon just wasn't finding that stride that I was hoping for. So maybe it was time to find a new catcher. Maybe. I'm not too sure, but at this point I was like, let's just try to win this wild card game and see if we can advance to the next round. So going against the Red Sox, for some reason, I feel like they're kind of a bogey team for me. We just never do well when we come up against the Red Sox. So I was kind of hoping that we were going to do well. You know, I put Syndergaard on the mound. I was looking at their lineup with VR, Devers, Bogarts, JD Martinez, and I was like, the top half of the lineup, really scary. But then once you get to like Chavis, Verdugo, Bradley, you know, Vasquez, it wasn't that scary. And I was thinking, you know what, we should win this game. We have a lot better team. Of course, they go up 2-0, and I'm like, what's going on here? We tie the game back up, and then things are just kind of like, you know, I don't like this. You know, 2-2, we're not scoring. JBJ's bringing in runs, and I'm like, if JBJ is bringing in runs, we're in trouble. If we're not scoring runs, of course we're going to be in trouble. And then Davy Grullon's like, hey, man, don't give up on me just yet. I'm going to give you the lead. It's 5-3. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And then 5-4, and I'm like, okay, let's change the pitcher. Who do we go to? Let's go to Berea. He's been good throughout the year. Things are going great. Things are going fantastic. And we all know it's kind of written in the stars at this point. You know, we always just have that one inning that comes back to haunt us. I plot. I'm like thinking, do we keep him in? Grand slam. And like at that point, I'm like, it's over. There's nothing we can do. It's done. Like at this point, my heart was just like, it's broken. End of the season, no matter what happens. And I probably should have taken Berea out, but I felt like he could have gotten that out, got us out of the inning, and unfortunately, we just couldn't get the win. So 9-5, and it comes down to the last inning. Trevor Hildenberger comes in, and I go, okay, let's get Matt Thaiss in. He gets out. Grullon gets out. G-Man Choi gets on, but then Simmons gets out, and that's the season. So unfortunately, that's how it ends. Season 3 was a little bit of a bust. So for exclusive negotiations, I declined Hansel Robles, and really the only one I was okay with doing was Jacob Barnes. You know, I was unsure if he was going to hold his rating, if he was still going to do well in the bullpen, but I thought, you know what? Let's give him 1 year. He did want a lot of money, which I was like, do I really want to do this? But I said, okay, let's see if he'll take like 5.4, and then we'll just move into the rest of the offseason. And then I was like, okay, where do we spend our money? Who do we add to the 40-man? And I was looking at it. If they left, didn't really care about it. The arbitration wise, I figured let's give it to everybody. And if we use them, we're gonna use them. If not, we'll trade them. And then contracts wise, I was gonna give it to everybody as well. So let's get the final season underway and see how it went. So final season, I decided to go for a reliever. This time it was for the guy who won reliever of the year last year in Carlos Estevez. I felt like we need somebody, right? We need somebody to help with that bullpen. I feel like that was kind of the weakest area in the squad. He had a really good year. Let's add him to the team. So looking at the team now, like when you look at the pitching rotation, it's strong. Last year I felt like, yeah, some people didn't perform, but we could still hope that they're gonna improve. And then the bullpen, we added Whitgren, we just added Estevez. Like, this is a very strong bullpen, and I'm really happy with it, especially the starting rotation. Like I mentioned, we didn't really have anybody that could come up from any of the prospects that we drafted, so I felt like let's just go with what we have. It's looking good. And then you look at the lineup, it's probably one of the best lineups we've assembled with this team. No crazy changes to the squad, but that was fine with that. That was really what I was looking for. I'm cool with keeping some of the core players like Fletcher, Rendon, Trout, Ohtani, you know, Joe Adell, Brandon Marsh, and I was cool with that. That was where I was fine with. Really, the only thing I was like unsure about was Davy Grullon, and then we look at the pitching again, and I was kind of thinking, well, do we trade for a starting pitcher? Do we trade Davy Grullon? We're ranked 3rd in baseball. We're doing really good. It's just what changes do we need to make? So in the end, I was looking at it. I felt very comfortable with the pitching staff, and I really wanted to make a change for a catcher. So let's go make a change for a catcher. So this is the trade I end up making. It's for Adley Rutschman, right? And I'm looking at it, and I was looking at other catchers that were really good hitters, and I just couldn't find any. Obviously, there's Gary, there's Wilson, you know, there's Jorge Alfaro, Mitch Garver, you could go Omar Narvaez, and there's a bunch of different ones, but I feel like I've been kind of getting the same catchers a lot recently, and I don't think I ever really got Adley Rutschman. So I was like, you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's trade some of our top prospects. Let's trade that catcher that he just hasn't been doing it for us. Davy Grullon just hasn't proven that he's going to be our starting catcher. He's good against me. He's proven in multiple rebuilds that he's good against me, but let's give up Davy Grullon. Let's go for the top catching prospect in baseball, who actually is a little bit better of a hitter right now than what Davy Grullon is. And let's just go with Adley Rutschman. We're getting rid of 2 players that we got in the first season draft in Hayden. Was it Hayden Layton and Tom Del Carmen along with Davy Grullon? So that's the trade. So for the final season, we had to play a tiebreaker game. So we could have been the wild card team again to the Athletics, and we actually took the division for the final season, which I was like, woo. We actually won one more game than we did last year, which was basically what happened in season 3, where if we would have won like a game or 2 more, we would have taken the division. So Athletics, just kind of a glitchy team. Apparently we were one of the best teams in baseball this season. And when you look at some of the other league leaders, like we had players that were always in contention for like some of the top stats, but unless it was like Mike Trout or Rendon, they weren't winning it. So league leaders, we were okay. We had a gold glove, but you guys can see the MVPs, the Cy Youngs, the reliever of the years, and things like that. So for the most part, I was really happy with the team we put together. Like, it was actually a really solid team, and I really enjoyed putting this team together. I mean, look at this pitching rotation. Yeah, a couple players took a step back for this final season, and that definitely did hurt us, but we won the division. We kept the core with this squad, and like, look at some of these stats. We've had low whips. Carlos Estevez wasn't as good as he was last year with the reliever of the year award, which sucks because we just traded for him, and of course he does poorly. It just always happens like that. I feel like anytime I trade for a pitcher, they either do really well or really bad, and then they flip it the next year. It sucks. But for the most part, I was really happy with the bullpen that we did with this team. The starting rotation probably could have been a little bit better, but for the most part, I was really happy with it. AJ Puck really was just the one player that really stuck out, kind of like as an eyesore. But you guys can see the team. The bench was all right. I really wasn't keeping too many tabs on the bench. The CPU got really involved this year with the lineup, which I didn't understand. I don't know why they switched a lot of things up. The order of the lineup I switched before I actually simmed this season, and then the CPU changed things again. So CPU got really involved, didn't like that at all. So I think that kind of affected some things. I think they brought up and down a lot of different pitchers throughout the season as well. So that sucked. But you guys can see, you know, David Fletcher had his best season. Anthony Rendon's putting up crazy good numbers. Mike Trout putting up MVP type numbers. And I knew that was going to happen with our star players. It was just trying to build around those guys to get a really solid team. Shohei Ohtani had kind of a quiet year. Ji-Man Choi put up really good numbers. He's kind of a glitchy first baseman to get. Joe Adell, for some reason, is continuing to take steps back. Adley Rutschman had a really good season, and that's what I was looking for with the catcher, and he finally gave it to us. And then Simmons kind of put up like career numbers for him, like career average numbers. So really happy with the team, really happy with what we were able to do throughout the 4 seasons. I felt like this was, for some reason, a team that really baffled me at the beginning of the rebuild. Wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with it, but we were able to turn things around. And of course, we take on the wild card team, and then what happens? You know, we come up against the Indians, and we're about to get eliminated. And at this point, you kind of know what's going to happen. You kind of expect what's going to happen, right? It's just me and rebuilds. And so we're taking on the Indians. We take a 2-0 lead, and I'm like, woohoo, we're looking good. Franmil Reyes brings them within 1. The double play ends the inning for them. We couldn't score there. That one really sucked. And then Garrett Stubbs goes deep. And when Garrett Stubbs goes deep, I know we're in trouble. Then it goes to 5-2, and then we keep simming. Offense just died, right? We get a run there thanks to Shohei. I bring out Griffin Canning. Adley Rutschman brings us within 1, and I'm like, yes, this is great. Griffin Canning's coming out in the 7th inning. It's a 5-4 game. I go, who do we go to? We go to Alvarado. He's that lefty matchup that I wanted. Things are looking good. Boom, home run. And I'm like, of course. It's just meant to be, right? It's not meant to be. We're just not winning games. We're not winning World Series. And I feel like I have a curse, a rebuild curse, that it's just not ever meant to be. And unfortunately, that's where the video ends, guys. We kind of the offense kind of fell apart. I felt like certain pitchers kind of fell apart as well. And unfortunately, that's just how it ended. So I hope you did enjoy the video. Again, this was actually not again, but this was one of the times I kept the core with the team. Rendon, Ohtani, Trout, David Fletcher. We added some of those prospects up that normally a lot of people don't get to see. We saw Adele, we saw Marsh get involved, we saw some new players brought into the team, and I think we did pretty good with this squad. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new and enjoyed the content, and of course get in the comment section and let me know which prospect you think is going to be better, Brandon Marsh or Joe Adele. And that's really about it, guys. I'm gonna leave you with 2 videos. Go and check them out if you haven't seen either of them. All social media links are down in the description below, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.